My name's Brandon Smith. I heard about the Capstone program from Patty.
Hi, I'm Patty Galvan Ramos, and I work at Iowa Vocational Rehabilitation Services at the Ottumwa office. I reached out to Vienna when I looked at his garage, and it was beyond some of the things that I know. So she's very knowledgeable how to make things accessible and learning more about assistive technology. So I reached out to her at that point and made the referral.
There's some people that are, you just got to be willing to ask for help sometimes. It's not the easiest thing to do, but yeah, just do it, and maybe it's not that difficult after you just make the phone call, I guess.
When I first met with Brandon, he was looking more into his van modification that was already done, but he didn't need assistance in that area. So we explored the different supports that he's needing for his current job. He delivers some out of service parts, and so we wanted to make things more functional and easier for him. He did have some limitations, and the terrain that he was traveling to wasn't, he goes into like gravel roads and everything, so we had to explore not only his environment at the shop, but also like his garage to make it more accessible.
Hi, I'm Vienna Hong, Assistive Technology Counselor Specialist for Iowa Vocational Rehabilitation Services. Part of Brandon's job is to be able to lift jugs that he transported and delivered to all of the various garages that they worked with. Being in a wheelchair, it made it difficult for Brandon to do that specific task. We looked at various types of hand trucks and carts which would not work for his situation because of different things that we had to address. For example, living in Iowa, he would have to be able to traverse through various terrains, whether it be ice, snow, gravel road, just some uneven terrains. Some other things that we had to address were the ability for Brandon to be able to pick up the cart and take it with him in his truck, as well as stow it away when it is inside the truck. The ease of being able to do that. So hand trucks, which were usually very heavy and too big and bulky, would not work. So we searched and searched on the market for something that could be viable, and nothing seemed to work.
Vienna contacted me to discuss the possibility of projects that we could work on for people with disabilities, and we looked at the various options that would meet the requirements for the senior design course. The students did a great job of working with our resources here on campus, particularly the Boyd Product Realization Laboratory and the teaching lab coordinators and student technicians therein, and getting their materials ordered and fabricated and getting the final assembly put together and tested and ready for delivery to Brandon.
My main roles was procurement and product research. And one of the big things I learned was how invaluable the voice of the customer is.
My main role in the project was a lot of the 3D modeling using a program called SolidWorks. There's a lot of taking a lot of measurements that we took around Brandon's truck and then actually implementing them in the design so that we're allowed to compile all of our dimensions, all our tolerances, and then actually make sure that they are going to fit within the restricted area that we need.
I worked a lot with Fund ISU and getting that campaign going, as well as just like the cost analysis of everything. And I think that really helped me learn just like what really goes into a project when you don't have the funding for it, and how to reach out to people and how willing people are to actually help with the situation, and just talk to people about money. So
understand a problem before you just quickly start throwing out solutions. For us, with the client being geographically far away from us, it was very important to really understand the current processes and limitations and even literal dimensions of what we could work with, because it had to fit on a lift, through a door, and be stored under a shelf. So really understanding the parameters of the problem helped a solution arise that was fitting.
All right. Thanks, Voc Rehab, so much. Appreciate everything you do.